radio at 248-557-3500. This is WNZK, Dearborn Heights, Detroit. Your ethnic superstation at 690 days, 680 nights.
Welcome to the bright side of aging. My name is Ike Engelbaum. I'm a pharmacist and the publisher of AmericanSeniorGazette.org. It has been wisely said, you cannot help getting older, but you can help getting old. It has also been said that age is a matter of the mind. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter. My purpose in doing the show is so that seniors and caregivers can share their ideas and questions on how we can age gracefully and in a vertical position for as long as our good genes will allow. And if we've inherited bad genes, how to outwit them. Our topics include senior housing, financial, legal, safety, travel, health issues, interesting senior events in the community, and most of all, tips on how to put old on hold.
If your question is, who am I going to call to bring the kind of services into my home that I need because I can't get out? House Calls on Wheels provides both medical and non-medical services in your home. They can bring in doctors, dentists, nurses, therapists, and more. And those medical services are covered by Medicare and most private insurance plans. And they have all sorts of non-medical services, whatever you need. Now, if you use 4 hours or more of non-medical services per month, you're going to get a free personal emergency button telephone that you can use for both emergencies or daily use. Call House Calls on Wheels toll-free for further information. 1-888-489-8980. That's 1-888-489-8980.
For over 30 years, Cruise Hearing and Service has helped thousands of people improve their hearing and enjoy the sounds of their life again. If you don't hear as well as you like, Cruise Hearing can help you. They have actually hearing aids that the batteries do not need to be recharged. And they also have a caption phone that you can view for free. And also the phone, if you are over 65, is available to you free. So any phone calls you get, you can see captioned if you don't hear that well. Hey, they've got other stuff. If you'd like the free cookbook, call 1-888-489-8980. That's available. You can call Cruise Hearing Direct at 877-456-2789. The number direct is 877-456-2789. And we're on, and hopefully you are, because otherwise this is going to be a one-way conversation. I am reminded of the story of the two guys walking in the woods, and one is talking to himself, and his friend says, "Are you talking to yourself?" And the fellow says, "Yes," and it's a private conversation. Anyway, Ike Engelbaum coming at you, as they say in the big time, and hopefully that you're enjoying our wonderful Michigan weather, which we pride ourselves that we have 4 seasons, but no one said that you'd have all 4 seasons in one day. But look at the bright side, and that's what the name of the show is, Bright Side of Aging, where I try to bring out the positive aspects of aging, because as we all know, as we age, things are not as bright as they used to be. And the truth of it is that it's true in every situation. So don't feel alone that if as you get older, you're not able to do quite the things that you used to. And one of the tips that I've learned over the years, and I give credit to my father, who was a wonderful human being, and so was my mother, and they appreciated what we had. And my father especially was one of these people that never begrudged anybody having any more than he did. He was grateful for what he had. And I've tried to live my life that way, also looking at really the bright side of aging. In fact, as we speak, even though our politicians are trying to change the way things have been done, there are a lot of good ones that are trying to keep the fort down, that this is the greatest country in the whole world as we speak. And the trouble is that so many people feel that you have to change because that's going to be better. Change is not that great if it's going to make things worse. But I must say, the only person that really appreciates change is a baby in a wet diaper, okay? So hopefully your diaper is dry, and hopefully we can share in some of the thoughts and things I want to bring out. Our toll-free number is 888-489-8980. That's 1-888-489-8980. The reason I give out that number is that if you are a senior and getting a run around with all of the red tape that's out there, if you're trying to get services, or you're considering making a move from your current home, or renovate your current home so you can stay there, call us. After being on the air for almost half a century, I have resources that I've personally checked out that I can put you in touch with. And without bragging, which I'm about to brag, anything you may need in terms of really appreciating this wonderful country, call 888-489-8980, and I'll be glad to go to bat for you and hopefully not strike out. Today I'm really excited about having Dr. Larry Lawson on, and Dr. Larry Lawson is one of those rare individuals that actually has made a really big change in his life. Dr. Larry Lawson was a retired radiologist, and just to give you a little taste of his talents, he was on radio with Dick Burton for 43 years. And Dr. Larry Lawson decided that he'd go from radiology to radio. Yes, Dr. Lawson?
Well, my brother always thought that I had confused the two, and I thought, going into radio was the same thing as being a radiologist, and being a radiologist was the same thing as being on the radio, but that's not quite how it happened.
I think it's a little different.
Yeah, right.
I'm a pharmacist, so I have a fairly decent understanding.
You're not a farmer?
I actually, believe it or not, I was a farmer.
And you confused farming with pharmacology.
That's right.
Yeah,
you can see that.
We're buddies.
We're brethren, as they say,
exactly.
Whatever that means. That's wonderful. And I'll tell you, this may get a little bit overly philosophical, but I think one of the wonderful things that you have is such a phenomenal sense of humor, and obviously having hung out with Dick Burton, you certainly had to have that. And I think humor, since I'm a pharmacist, we can talk about drugs. Yeah. Humor is probably the best drug in the whole world.
Yeah, well, humor's a funny thing, as they say. I think I just made that up, but it sounds like someone must have said that before.
Well, Dennis Prager actually has a book about humor is a serious matter.
Okay.
And it's a wonderful, wonderful book. And anybody that's really into humor I don't mind sharing. I'm a proud founder, although I wasn't the original guy. I sort of teamed up with him. There is an association called the American Association for Therapeutic Humor. And anyone, by the way, that's interested, it's a regular organization. We have monthly phone calls. We have conventions, the whole bit. So anybody that's interested in participating, 1-888-489-8980. And I really am impressed. Not only can you tell jokes, and also having been in radio yourself, you've written a book, Putting Things in Perspective. Is that it?
Right. That title was suggested by my daughter. It's actually because that was the tagline that one of my characters had on the Dick Burton show, Wendell Ledbetter. And Dick would always say, now putting things in perspective, here is Wendell Ledbetter. So there's a book, it's kind of an online thing called Storyworth. And my daughter gave this to me as a Father's Day gift a couple of years ago. And they ask you questions, and you answer the questions and write in writing, and then they turn it into a book. But you can also create your own questions.
Wow.
And so, and it turned it into a book. But you were talking about my going from one to the other. What happened was I was in college in pre-med at Wayne State, and I also was able to write humor. I was writing for a friend of mine on a radio station in Ontario. And Dick Burton comes to town, and I'm listening to him, and I'm thinking, well, I can write that style of humor. So while I was still in pre-med, I just gave him a call out of the blue, and he was so nice. He said, sure, come on down, meet me at the radio station in Keener 13 in Dearborn the following morning. So I did, and I met him there, and we get out of the cars in the parking lot. I hand him some sheets of paper that had my one-liners on it and some phony commercials, and we're walking down the hallway on the way to the studio at Keener 13, and he's laughing while he's reading my stuff. This is amazing. Dick Burton is laughing at my stuff. So he sits down, and the news ends, and they introduce him, and he introduces one of my commercials I wrote for him right away.
Oh, really?
And he says, can you do voices? I said, sure. Well, I never did any voices, but... So
that's showbiz.
That's right, exactly. So I came up with Wendell Ledbetter. Well, actually, it was Pat Paulson. I was doing Pat Paulson.
Oh, wow.
And that morphed into Wendell Ledbetter later, but that's another story. And the Story Lady and Evelyn the Dietitian and Flaps Rickenbacker and all these characters that we did initially. So I'm in college, and again, pre-med, and I applied to medical school, got into medical school, and I thought, you know what, this radio stuff is really fun. It's got to, my passion was both medicine and radio, but radio just seemed like a lot more fun. Not quite as secure a living, but really a cool thing, and I thought I had a knack for it.
Yes, you do.
So I thought maybe I'll take a year off and delay medical school, because you could do that, and explore the radio thing, and then decide in 6 or 8 months what I want to do. In the meantime, I don't know if you remember this, but in 1969 there was a draft lottery. They put 366 dates into a big drum, and they pulled out the dates one by one, and the number one would going to Vietnam pretty much. If you're 365, you're scot-free. I was number one.
Oh.
Which my mother just about collapsed when she heard this. So I said, you know what, I do like radio, but maybe I can combine them some way. So I went to medical school, and I'm very glad I did.
Oh, yeah, well, I would imagine as a parent, they were very happy that you did that.
Well, she was not happy about my draft number being number one. I am patriotic. I love my country, but I didn't want to go to Vietnam, and it just wasn't my thing.
I see. Well, listen, fortunately you're here, and we're doing the best we can as to what went on there. So
right.
It's one of these things that unfortunately we still haven't learned our lesson. We're supposed to learn from the past and And unfortunately, we instead of learning, we're just repeating, which is a heck of a difference.
Right.
But listen, I really am impressed of your flexibility and your desire to be on the air, because frankly, this is a passion for me, and this is the station I'm on is pay to play, which is sort of a loose term, which means I pay for the airtime to be on the air. So I love it so much, I pay. Right. But if anybody that's listening wants to make a donation, it's not going to hurt my feelings. Just want to say, just call 888-489-8980, and I can give you recognition if you do make a donation. But this is not a fundraising day, but I do want to convey the message that if you enjoy this type of a format of the show, by all means, I can use the support, and that is 888-489-8980. And Dr. Lawson, I am anxious to get into the book, and we'll discuss some of the topics that you have, putting things in perspective.
You're welcome. That's what I always say.
We'll take a brief break, and we'll be right back. Hi, Ike Engelbaum. I am really excited about a new sponsor, and that is Memory Health. These are vitamin capsules that you take 3 a day, and it improves your memory. Memory Health has been proven to be scientifically helpful for early stages of Alzheimer's. In fact, it has been claimed that it can even forestall Alzheimer's. Dr. Joel Kahn made this statement: in my more than 30 years of practicing medicine, no other product has ever come close to truly supporting brain health like Memory Health. It's a safe, natural supplement. If you need any more information, call 888-489-8980, 888-489-8980. Family run for over 88 years, Friends Hardware has remained family-owned and operated. Friends Hardware is one of a kind. You'll find the newest products offered on TV at very competitive prices. You'll also find safety products, grab bars for bathrooms, battery-operated light switches, remote control devices that you can turn your lamps on or any electrical device. You don't have to run out there anymore. Just press the button. Better yet, just visit Friends Hardware, located on Main Street and 11.5 Mile Road. They're open every day. If you wish to call, it's 248-544-8111. That's 248-544-8111. Better yet, just visit 11.5 Mile Road and Main Street, Friends Hardware. And we're back, and hopefully you are as well. And I'm really excited about having Dr. Larry Lawson, who is a retired radiologist, but now he is a famous radio personality. If you didn't hear the first segment, Dr. Larry Lawson worked with Dick Burton for 43 years, so he must have talent in terms of humor and all, and he does. And I've had the privilege of talking to him over the years, and he's just one of these special people that really has got an inherent sense of humor. And Dr. Larry Lawson, your book, Putting Things in Perspective, is really quite an interesting setup. First of all, how did you decide what the format of the book would be? What did you do?
Well, it was kind of decided for me. There's a website, storyworth.com, And my daughter gave it to me as a gift. There's a charge, for that. They ask you questions, you answer the questions, and then it ends up in book form. But you can also make up your own questions. So I kind of did that. And I wanted to make it kind of funny and interesting because it's designed for your family, for your children and grandchildren, which is great. But I also wanted to make it at least entertaining and funny so it wasn't dry. So that's what I did. Kind of a Dave Barry-ish kind of, approach to it. And one of the things that they ask is, actually it's a question I made up because most people wouldn't have this. What are funny or interesting experiences you've had as a result of your radio career? So I made up that question.
You made up that question?
That particular question, but most of the questions are questions that Storyworth will ask you.
That's really interesting. So in other words, anybody listening that has got a desire to write a book, you tell them what your theme is at first, and then they set up specific questions that bring that out, or how does that work?
They have their questions they ask you. Like there's some of them in there. What was your earliest childhood memory? What were your grandparents like? Do you have a philosophy, of life? And just lots of generic questions that are asked. But to me, that was fine, but it was all very dry and good for it's for older people. And to hand it down to your grandchildren so they know what your thoughts are like and what your life was like when you were growing up. So imagine if your grandfather wrote down, what happened so many years ago. It would be very interesting.
Right, sure.
But I wanted to also make it funny and interesting, so there were various...
So you added your own questions.
Added my own questions as well.
Well, I'd like to find out more about it. We can talk about it after the year, and maybe there are people listening that would want to partake in it. So if you'll call me on that toll-free number, as I like to give out, which is 888-489-8980, maybe we can make you an author as well. So I am looking at the index here, and boy, the book has got almost what?
Well, there's a maximum of 480 pages.
Wow.
And I hit the maximum. But there's a lot of pictures in there.
I see.
And
wow.
My wife always groans when I say, "Oh, I should put that in the book. I'll have a second book." She says, "No, you've written enough."
Enough is enough.
Enough is enough. Yeah. Well, she proofread it, and I gave her credit for that. And my daughter proofread it. I gave them credit, but I rewrote it so many times since then that if there's any errors in the book, it's on me.
I see. Well, you're the first guy that's ever said that because, I have a series what I like to call Ikeisms, and one of them is to err is human. To find somebody else to blame it on is even more human. Okay?
Well, I didn't want to throw them under the bus, quite honestly.
I see. Well, so this would make a phenomenal book for discussion groups where you could just take from the questions, get the feedback. As they say, David Letterman usually starts with number 10.
Yeah, right. Work it down.
How about number 10? What are some of your fondest childhood memories?
Okay. I remember going to work with my dad at Mackalac Paints. That was one of my first, he was one of the owners of Mackalac Paints. And I would go to work with him. And I described some of these specific things, that happened at work. But one of the questions was about that I made up myself, radio experiences. Do we have how much time do we have?
We have a few minutes.
Okay, good. So I was hired to introduce a Beatles sound-alike group, a Beatles tribute group at Freedom Hill. On the east side.
Oh, really?
And, a few thousand people and that sort of thing, because the people at the radio station knew I loved the Beatles.
Oh, wow.
So they hired me to be the MC of this thing.
Wow.
So I go out on stage and I tell a few jokes, the person introduces me over the air. He says, "Now, ladies and gentlemen, from WOMC, Larry Lawson." And there's like no reaction. I mean, just people are just sitting eating their popcorn and looking at each other and talking. And I do some lines, a little bit of laughter here and there, but not much. And I said, "Thank you very much. We'll be back after the intermission." So just before intermission ends, I go backstage and I see the four, would-be Beatles, and I introduce myself, and I said, "I'm going to go out and do a few lines, maybe 2 minutes of one-liners, and then I'll introduce you." And they're just sort of looking around and not paying too much attention. So the guy introduces me, on the loudspeaker, "Ladies and gentlemen, from WOMC, Larry Lawson." And I walk out on stage, and now the crowd goes crazy. They're applauding and stomping. And there were a few more people now than before, but they were listening. And I'm standing there in front of them, nodding and bowing and putting my hands, "Thank you, thank you, thank you." And I see my friends who were sitting in the front row cracking up. And I don't know what they're laughing at. And all of a sudden I hear a ding, like a guitar thing, and I turn around, and the four Beatle guys were right behind me.
Oh.
And that's what everyone...
You thought it was for you.
I did. I really did. So I turned around, and I looked around, and I said, "Ladies and gentlemen, the Beatles Tribute 64, and I walked off. And, forever humbled. I just couldn't get over it.
Yeah, that feeling.
Yeah, it was amazing.
It's a shame you can't capture those feelings.
That's right.
That's
right. Another interesting thing, I was introducing, Dick was introducing the U of M bust. I don't even know if that is. If you go to U of M, it's a yearly fundraising with about 3,000 U of M grads. Mm-hmm. And it's at Cobo Hall. And so Dick thought it would be a good idea if I came dressed as a U of M football player with the helmet and the uniform and the whole shot. The picture of that's in the book somewhere. And so Dick introduces me, and on the dais is Bo Schembechler and some other people. And I'm like 5 feet from Bo Schembechler. Wow. And it was not a good year for U of M that year. And as this character, I said, well, it wasn't a great year for U of M football, but as Bo Schembechler always says, it's only a game. And Bo Schembechler looks at me and he said in a loud voice, "I never said that. I would never say that. This is not only a game. Who told you I said that?" And he's like lifting out of his chair. He's having I'm glad at that point in time they had a helmet and a mask on. And also Dick gave me a phony name. And he also didn't recognize who I was. He figured if I was a U of M player, he'd know me. And he said, "Who are you? What's going on here?" So it actually went as planned as far as I'm concerned. I thought it was hilarious.
No, well, I can appreciate. Well, not to that extent. I've had similar experiences where you think that what you're saying is really clever and humorous.
Oh, yeah.
And it turns out, what did you say? What did you do?
Know your audience.
Well, not to get overly dramatic, but this verifies one of my theories in terms of humor. And since we're talking medicine and stuff, that humor can be looked upon, if you're good, as being a good surgeon, and if not, you're like a butcher.
Yeah, right.
And I'll tell you, this book certainly sort of sharpens your thinking. You should charge some sort of a fee.
It's actually expensive to buy extra copies of the book.
Putting things in perspective.
You're welcome. Okay. It's like Pavlov's dog. I'm sorry whenever I hear that.
We'll definitely have to pursue our conversation because there's more questions that I even didn't get to number 7. There you go. But unfortunately, I got to wrap it up for this week, and I never want to leave this segment without my favorite parting thought, which is, yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, today is a gift, and that's why we call it the present. Please enjoy your present by looking and living life with a bright side of aging. Welcome to the Entrepreneurs Network radio show. Our mission is to interview successful entrepreneurs who are willing to share with us their ideas and experiences, both the successes and the failures. Because as it has been jokingly said, you should learn from the mistakes of others because you'll never live long enough to make them all yourself. My name is Ike Engelbaum, and I'm the founder of the Entrepreneurs Network of Michigan, which is a group of motivated people that are all interested in helping each other in achieving our personal and professional goals. Please check out our website, EntrepreneursNetworkofMichigan.com, for meeting schedule as well as self-improvement material. Our philosophy is that if it's to be, it's up to me. Hi, Ike Engelbaum. One of my sponsors is Cofix Nasal Spray. You can spray the inside of your nose and almost have the same benefits as a mask. In fact, it's been so well proven that it's now on the market in drugstores. Cofix RX. Spray it in the nose. 45 seconds later, you have up to 8 hours like a shield inside your nose. It's been scientifically proven. I'm really excited about it. I use it anytime I go out in a huge crowd. If you need any more information, call 888-489-8980. 888-489-8980.
If your question is, who am I going to call to bring the kind of services into my home that I need because I can't get out? House Calls on Wheels provides both medical and non-medical services in your home. They can bring in doctors, dentists, nurses, therapists, and more. And those medical services are covered by Medicare and most private insurance plans. And they have all sorts of non-medical services, whatever you need. Now, if you use 4 hours or more of non-medical services per month, you're going to get a free personal emergency button telephone that you can use for both emergencies or daily use. Call House Calls on Wheels toll-free for further information. 1-888-489-8980. That's 1-888-489-8980.
For over 30 years, Cruz Hearing and Service has helped thousands of people improve their hearing and enjoy the sounds of their life again. If you don't hear as well as you like, Cruz Hearing can help you. They have actually hearing aids that the batteries do not need to be recharged. And they also have a caption phone that you can view for free. And also the phone, if you are over 65, is available to you free. So any phone calls you get, you can see captioned if you don't hear that well. Hey, they've got other stuff. If you'd like the free cookbook, call 1-888-489-8980. That's available. You can call Cruz Hearing direct at 877-456-2789. The number direct is 877-456-2789. And welcome, fellow entrepreneurs. And I'm not sure whether that's politically correct with them, he, she. I think fellow is still safe. The segment that I am really proud of having done this Entrepreneurs Network segment now for almost half a century is intended to initiate your interest in being your own boss and being self-employed and truly living the American dream. Yes, it's still alive. Unfortunately, like a lot of dreams, we have certain breaks in it. But if you surround yourself with the right people, and you certainly have them available to you, this country still is the greatest in terms of helping people be self-sufficient so they don't end up in a situation where they're desperate. It's inexcusable in our country that anybody goes hungry. Unfortunately, there are a lot of hungry people. And one thing for sure is that unless you take care of yourself, you can't take care of anyone else. And that's the essence of the Entrepreneurs Network mission. In fact, our mission is, if you help someone achieve their goals, they more than in turn will help you achieve yours. And I'm really excited about having teamed up with a Tom Stark, who unfortunately is no longer with us. But when you're as talented that Tom Stark was, he leaves a legacy of that spirit of helping one another so that indeed you can help others. And two of the principals of the Tom Stark Networking Group are on the line with me today. And in fact, we're having a meeting this evening that we'll get into as we continue our conversation. First is a Dr. Kevin Papert, who's the organizer of the group and the co-founder or co-organizer or all-around nice guy and talent is Josh Ruddaitis. So first, let's talk with Dr. Kevin Papert. Hello, Dr. Papert.
Yeah, good morning there, Ike, and good morning to all your listeners. What I'd like to be able to do is to make a correction here real quickly. Josh is the organizer of the group, and I'm the co-organizer of the group. So I just wanted to make that clear that everybody will understand that.
Well, that's all right. The only reason I called you the organizer is because on our meetup notifications, you come up with that nice title. But just a sign of how giving and gracious a guy you are, you don't want to take away from Josh Ruddaitis, who's a super talented young man. In fact, he's so young that he could be my son, but he doesn't want to be that. Is that right, Josh?
You're right. I am young enough to be your son, but I would be honored to.
Well, that makes me.
So thank you for having me on.
Well, it's my pleasure. So let's start with our usual procedure with Dr. Papert, and we do our 60-second elevator pitch, and then we can switch over to you, and then we can discuss the whole theme of the Tom Stark Networking Group, which is phenomenal. It's so phenomenal that I want to be part of it to promote it. So, Dr. Papert, give us your 60-second elevator pitch. Go.
Well, pretty much, I'm basically one of the top 5 business consultants in all of North America. I have been given that title in recognition through one of the largest organizations in all of North America, which is basically the International Professional Turnaround Association. And I am a master certified turnaround professional. And there's only 5 of us in all of North America that have that distinction. And one of the great things about all of that is I'm the youngest of the 5. And once again, I'm pretty old myself, but being the youngest in an entitlement is really a major honor of what I've been able to do. And basically, becoming a master, you have to have certain kinds of accomplishments over and above anybody else in that industry. And the 5 of us have done things over and above what anybody else has done in the turnaround industry.
Well, I can act as, it's not just act, but it's for real as a testimonial. I know from the feedback I've gotten over the years, because we've known each other for quite a few years, is that people really admire your style and your experience, and I'm really looking forward to being together this evening. It starts at 6 o'clock, and we'll be at the Grand Tavern of Troy, which is at 1317 Coolidge Highway in Troy. Very easy to find. It's just south of Maple on Coolidge. We'll be there starting around 6. Officially, the meeting starts at 7, and hopefully people that are listening, if they themselves can't make it, they can tell their friends. If you truly are interested in building or starting your business, that this is a phenomenal organization. And Josh Ruddaitis is a gifted young man who is fortunate enough, because he's young enough with a great brain, to have caught on to all of this internet stuff and social media and what have you. And you actually spend your day work or day job doing that type of thing. Is that right, Josh?
That's right. I am. My name is Josh Ruddaitis. I am an IT security professional in the Detroit area. We are seeing more and more scams online, and that is where the money is. Mm-hmm. And so that's where the scams are going to continue. You're going to see more exploits. Mm-hmm. And so I protect small businesses and individuals from these attacks. We all deserve the same protections that big guys do, and tools are available for all of us out there. So I help protect the small businesses and individuals that get looked over by these giant firms. Mm-hmm. I am fortunate enough to have become the organizer of the Tom Stark Meetup Group. Tom was a wonderful and gifted man, great Christian man, great business guy. He focused on social media. And so he and I had some overlap on what we did. He worked on the user side of things with making use of technology for individuals on social media and social networking. And I did the back-end stuff with the security end of things. And so we had a great relationship that way. Mm-hmm. Like you mentioned, we are meeting at the Grand Tavern Restaurant in Troy on Coolidge Road, or Coolidge Highway, south of Maple Road. It's on the west side of the road. The food there is 5 stars. The service is 5 stars. We have fantastic service. They send 2 waitresses into the room, so both sides of the table get serviced very quickly, very efficiently, and the food is absolutely great. Again, this meeting is free for all to attend. We invite everyone. Everyone is welcome, not just those in business, but those that want to learn more about finance and going into business are welcome to attend. There is no charge. We just ask that you patronize the business, buy a coffee, buy a dinner, buy an appetizer, something, because they are being very generous in giving us the space for free.
Right. Well, it's basically you just pay for what you want to eat. And meanwhile, I just want to highlight what you do, Josh. You actually are doing something that's so critical. Obviously, like they say, no one can protect you against all of the type of scams that are out there, but you have got the gift to work with small businesses and help them secure their particular business. And we just heard about this 21-year-old guy who, unfortunately, I can't understand the type of thinking someone who would have to give away secrets of the protection of our government. But you, Josh, help small businesses protect their own little nest egg. Is that correct?
Correct. There are certain 90% of what I do is physical security, and about 10% is electronic. But there are physical controls that we can put on or enable on computer devices to eliminate transfer or removal of data and to protect individuals and businesses. So there's the electronic side of things where you have intrusion prevention systems, firewalls, permissions configurations, and then there's the physical security. So you have physical controls, where we disable certain ports on the computers so that people can't just stick a drive in and remove the data from a thumb drive. Certain access controls, not having your server in the front lobby where everyone goes in and out of. Some of this is, it sounds like common sense, but I see it on a regular occurrence. And so preventing the data from literally walking away.
And the sad part about it is that a lot of people are not aware as to what can be done. And I've had you, Josh Ruddaitis, speak to our Optimist and Rotary Club, and these are professionals in both organizations. And by the way, anyone that's interested in joining me at one of our meetings, Rotary and Optimist Club is a phenomenal way of networking, plus meeting really expert business professionals who are successful. You don't join those type of organizations if you are just starting out and really not knowing what is available to you. These are people that are currently in business. Many of them are semi-retired. So if you call our toll-free number, 888-489-8980, you can join up with me. And if you want to join up this evening over at the tavern, the Grand Tavern in Troy, this is a great opportunity. And Dr. Papert, the meetings are once a month, is that correct?
No, we are twice a month.
Twice a month.
Right, we normally meet the first and the third Wednesdays of each month. We're a conglomerate of about 6 different meetup groups, and once again, so we do bring in a fairly sizable crowd. The room itself is a private room, so we'll have a lot of quiet, and people can talk and we can all hear each other. That's what I like about this room, and it's very COVID safe. So once again, you can come in there and all the safety measures are all available and inside. They really are making sure that people who do attend are going to be safe. So for those who might have that little bit of fear, not to be fearful, because the room is very well conditioned to protect you. I also like to mention something as well about Josh. And I know that he's kind of humble about this, but he is so popular in what he does. He even has school systems that want him to come in to be able to teach and train what he does and how he does that, and he does do that. And so that he's that popular, and what he does is the future when it comes to security, specifically with all this online stuff. You don't take care of that security, you're going to have a lot of problems, and people are listening in, and you got TikTok and everything else, which are all the foreigners who are listening in on our phones and through our computer systems. Josh can help you to eliminate that stuff to protect you from having, foreigners or anybody, even the government, listening in on you. So, this is how good Josh is. And now the school systems are really asking for him to come on in and to teach this stuff to the youths who don't have any idea at all about cybersecurity.
Right. Well, one of my Ikeisms that I like to quote is that the next worst thing to not knowing is not knowing that you don't know. And the truth is, a lot of companies and school systems and organizations are not aware of what goes on. And Josh, why don't you give out your phone number a couple of times if people want to speak to you directly? What is your number?
Absolutely. My phone number is 586-522-5226. And that number one more time, 586-522-5226.
Yeah, tutu sounds like a train almost, but you keep moving. That's great.
Hey, it is a train, and it does keep moving right along, in a forward direction.
Right.
It's not good when you move in a backwards direction.
And it's done safely, and you have an initial consultation. I know from having heard people talk about you that you don't charge right from the get-go. And if money is an issue, Dr. Papert is a financial whiz, as I like to call him. And why don't you give out your phone number a couple of times, Dr. Papert, if anybody really wants to know how you can maximize the dollars you have and make them into even bigger dollars. What is your number?
My number is very simple. It's 248-618-7139. Once again, 248-618-7139.
And the proof in the pudding, as I like to put it, is, how about that? A whole bunch of puts there. And that is, you've shared with us over the years at the meetings some of the success stories. Is there of what the company was having a challenge with, and along comes Dr. Papert and he solves the problem. Can you give us an example of something that you've done that you're proud of?
Well, one of the key things that I'm very proud of is the fact is showing business owners of how to utilize the tax code to advance their business causes. And one of the key things about being able to do that is we can do that through equipment financing. A lot of businesses out there want to improve their businesses or advance their businesses, but they have to purchase equipment to be able to do that. Well, one of the key things that we can do is we can show a business how they can purchase equipment and not have to tie into any of their cash reserves. So they can purchase equipment at totally zero down, and once again, being able to get into this equipment, and we'll take care of all the costs involved, regardless of whether it's taxes, setup fees, delivery charges of the equipment, and even the training to use the equipment. That can all be rolled into one price. And that way you can just make monthly payments, and that way you can keep and maintain your cash reserves. But the best thing of all about being able to do equipment financing is we show all of our clients of how you can write off the asset twice. And the IRS will reward you, and the government will pay you to purchase equipment for your business so you can advance the cause and being able to grow and expand your business, and they'll pay you to do that. And very few business owners know about this.
Well, that's why people should give you a call. Why don't you repeat your phone number one more time, Dr. Papert?
Yeah, once again, the number is 248-618-7139.
We just have a couple of minutes left, and tonight at the Grand Tavern, starting at 6 o'clock to eat, 7 o'clock meeting officially starts. what can people expect to hear this evening?
Well, one of the good things about our group is the fact is that we're just not the kind of a group that we just sit there and talk about each other and brag about each other like most groups are like. We basically provide business education and update all of our memberships, our members, about the economic status and things and how things are going on. Plus, we also educate them about business so they can advance their cause and being able to be better business entrepreneurs. And tonight we're going to be talking about a concept called 212. And being a 212, that is basically a 3-number phrase with significant meaning, which means that it puts you ahead above everybody else by being labeled a 212.
I had the privilege of hearing your talk several times before, and frankly, I learn each time that we talk about it. And one thing that we do that's always appreciated by whoever shows up is that you are given the opportunity to introduce yourself as well as identify who can help you. And between Josh and you, Dr. Kevin Papert, we can give you tips on how you can present yourself in your 60-second elevator pitch so that it doesn't sound like you're a computer. And that's the sad part. A lot of people, when they come to these meetings, don't really clearly identify what they do, and they use these acronyms and things thinking that people understand, and we help you so that people can understand you and help in the networking aspect. And one of the reasons I'm involved with the group is I made some phenomenal contacts where people that are there were looking for the types of contacts I had, and we exchanged contacts, and as they say, it was mutually beneficial. Josh, it's been a delight to have you on, and I don't know if there's a brief thought that you might want to share that I didn't give a chance for you to express. Is there anything that you have as a parting thought, or are you, Dr. Papert?
Thank you, Ike. I think you summed it up very well. I'd like to thank you for your time and thank you for having us on. And I'd like to extend another invitation to all your listeners to join us this evening. And it is open to everyone, and we are going to be doing a series. So this is the beginning of a curriculum, so that Dr. Kevin and I will be doing. So we're going to use the 212 as our foundation and then build on it. And so attendees will be learning something new each time they come. It won't be a stagnant, or it won't be a repeat. It'll be a new lesson each time they come. And this is all based on experiences and issues that we've had through our own businesses or witnessed other people have in theirs. So it's all to build each other up. It's all to help one another out and give every attendee some more tools they can have in their toolbox so that they can be as successful as possible.
Sounds fantastic. Unfortunately, I've run out of time, and it's been a delight to have both of you on. In fact, you're so good, I'm going to have you on again, okay?
All right.
And right now, I only have enough time for my favorite parting thought, which is, if you really want to get anything done in life, you'll find a way. And if you don't, you'll find an excuse. And there is no excuse for not achieving your dreams and goals in America, because it is the greatest country in the whole world. Remember, a goal is just a dream with a deadline.
WNZK has available a few good hours of airtime for a few good programs to serve their communities. Radio is better than ever in targeting an audience that listens to what you say. Learn more about this exciting radio broadcasting opportunity by calling WNZK Radio at 248-557-3500. This is WNZK, Dearborn Heights, Detroit, your ethnic superstation at 690 days, 680 nights.